Welcome once again to an Emm-Bee Motorhomes instructional video where we're going to look today at the Autotrail Apache 632 with various instructions on how to get the most out of it. So the first element we're going to look at here is in the engine bay. To open the engine bay, we are going to pull the handle that can be found just inside of the passenger door cab, which I'll show you shortly. And in here we have all of the elements that we're going to need for our fluid access. And of course the important one that we need to look at here is where we have our window wiper fluid for keeping our screens clean. Added to that as well, if for any reason you do have a flat battery, here you'll notice that you don't have the easiest access down to the battery points. It's just down that space there, and if you put one of your points here as well, that will help you with regards to any kind of charging that you need to do. To open the vehicle, you pull simply the lever in the passenger set, and then putting your hand underneath, you're going to lift this lever here, and you'll find the strut is sat very comfortably across the top here, and that gives you your access to the engine bay. As we come now around the side of the vehicle, we can see that we do have all of our access points as required and needed. Just looking here through the passenger door so that we can get a sense of the inside of the cab area. Just here we're looking, and this is where we will pull for access to the engine bay. Also here inside the vehicle, we'll notice that under the seats we do have access storage units. In this particular one we have access to our toolbox, and on the other side we have a drainage bowl that can be used. Got all the normal storage that we would have in any of these. Added to that, of course, then we've got our window blinds. They're simply operated by pinching together these two points here, and as we do and pull across, then we'll be able to see the blind as it moves. It goes to the middle, and by magnets they then clip. Be gentle with them, and they do have a tendency, and they can be a little bit difficult. The same here on this particular window, same again. We pinch, and this will be the same on both sides, and we simply pull it across all the way down until it connects to that side. To unrelease, we unclip again and pull all the way back. As we move a little further around the vehicle, we'll just see here that the first one of the many doors that we have around the side, this is our access to our gas. Now this particular model had a gas flow system fitted. It's still not currently there, the access is, but if that's something you'd want to use, you would need to then add the gas flow regulator. Inside, as we open up the doors, we've got a clip just here at the top which will hold it up in a secure manner. We can see that we have our normal regulator. We simply connect our pigtail onto our two bottles. There's a good amount of storage and ventilation in that space. Just to lock that, we simply get it into position and turn the handles, and we see them in the locked position. Now as we move a bit further around the vehicle, we're just going to get first of all to our toilet cassette area. This is a common enough part in most motorhomes. If you're not used to, you simply press both of these buttons together. I'm going to do that now and show you what it reveals. So as we open, we see our cassette. It's in its secure position so that it's not going to bounce around. To remove the cassette, we simply pull the handle up and pull it out. And as we pull it out, we can see all the access that we need into that area. Now as we've pulled the cassette out, we put it on the floor, you'll notice this handle pulls out simply from the bottom so that we can pull it around the site as is needed to take to the waste space, so we're not carrying what can be sometimes a considerable weight. Just to put that back, we would push that all the way down, and then the simple clips go over these little edges, and you'll see you simply pull one over and then pull the other one over. Now, just to show you the way that the whole model will work, you're going to put the cassette on its side. So if you've never used one of these, then you'll have to understand a little bit of the system. First of all, this is our blade. We did want access to that. We simply turn this here, that opens the blade, and we pull across, and we can get inside of the unit if that was to be cleaned. But that's not how we're going to drain this system. The way that we do it, we use the hose pipe here, which will simply turn to the situation that you need, and then we remove the cap. The cap we can unscrew quite simply, And here we see it also fills as a measuring out unit for putting the correct fluid within the unit. So once you've got to the place that you're draining, you simply unleash it like this, and then you tip the whole unit. As you're tipping the unit, you're going to press this button here. That will allow air to flow inside of the unit so that it doesn't splutter whilst it's being emptied. And we simply turn it, press the button and tip, and it will empty nice and simply. As we go to put the unit back, we can just see inside there that we do have as well a air vent. That's going to make sure that we don't have any kind of nasty smells coming through into the unit, and that will help it to vent out anything. We simply put the cassette back into the space and push it in. It's very important that as we're pushing it in, we make sure that the whole unit clicks into place. If it doesn't, then obviously it is going to move around and it won't be secure. That's how you should have it, and if you pull it, it's not going to move. And then we simply put the handles back up, and there we go, we have a shut door. The next part that we've got here is part of the whale systems. We simply lift it up like that, and here we see we have in fact got an access point for a barbecue, which we connect to it and then simply turn the gas on. Coming a bit further around, we do have our garage space. On this particular model, it is a really good garage space, so that's important. We simply twist the handles to open, and as we open, there we go, we've got our units. Now you notice that in the back of this unit we do have the carpets that come with it, and they can be placed down as the user wishes or not. Also, we have access to our heating system. It's all stored behind this particular unit here. Now that yellow knob that can just be seen there, that's a really important one that we would be looking to make sure that that is turned to the correct position so that the whole unit will work when we're using the boiler. But we'll come back to that at a later point. At this stage, just so you're aware, this is where turning on the access to the heating pump is. So please keep that in your mind. So as we move to the driver's side of the vehicle, we have a few more hatches and accessibilities. The first one to look at, of course, is once again the garage, a smaller door, but it does give us access maybe a little bit more accessibly to the back. We also notice that when we're inside the habitation unit, we can also access the heater from underneath the bed with some sets of doors that give us an easy access. A bit further across, then we come to this second unit. It is key locked. I have unlocked it so for ease to be able to use. So you unlock it with that, and as you open access, this is where your water infill is. So that's how your water is filled in. So it's really important that we remember as we put the hose in and we start to turn the water on and the water empties, it starts to fill, that we do have a number of valves shut. And that's just under here. You can see here right away from the side that you've got the boiler unit there, and as we go straight down, directly down, we'll see this blue tap here, and this of course is very important that it's closed when we're trying to fill. So as you're putting water in, if it's starting to pour out of here, then you need to turn it so that it is closed, and once it's closed, then water will fill the unit. Just a bit further across, you might see just here under the electrical unit that we actually have our grey waste valve as well. This is for water that's coming out of the shower, or water that's coming out of the sink, or water that's coming out of the bathroom sink, and this will drain. And the same again, we have our tap. So that's our grey water and our fresh water, and it's important that we have those closed when trying to fill up, and if we're using the boiler, that we have that yellow button that we showed up there turned to the correct position. So a bit further across now, we'll see that we have access here to an external shower point, which is useful if so needed. And again, we can push down. And then finally, we have this particular door, which is quite a little bit handy. You might be a bit surprised by what's behind it, so just give me a moment and I'll open the door. And as you can see, the answer to that is nothing. It's a storage space that we can use here to be able to store things, and that is sited directly under the kitchen. So if you do need an external storage that you want to use, then here is its access point. We close the door once again to click it shut, and then finally the last of the units that we've got are our electrical socket. And of course, again, it's a slide up and down which will protect you when you're driving. Please remember to disconnect before you drive off, We've all made that mistake. So that gives us the outside of the building. Now let's get to the habitation element. So we're going to come here to the passenger side where the access to the habitation is. I'm going to open the door. It's a simple handle that we pull towards ourselves. It will open the door. You'll be pleased to know that there is a step that's going to help you, and to do that what we need to do is just simply put our hands over this black switch here, and I'm going to press it and let you have a look at how the step comes out. And there you go, we've got a nice secure step that's going to help you with that particular clearance, so no hard lifting there. So as we climb into the unit, we've got access to our front lounge, our kitchen space, fridge, bathroom and shower, and then our sleeping unit there at the back, as well as considerable storage all the way around the perimeter of the building, which is wonderful. But as we come back to the door, we'll just see above it that we have got two control panels, and they are quite excellent. So the first one is a touch sensitive one. We're going to press that button, and as we press it, you can see that we've got an electronic control sensor that has now come. It is all touch sensitive, so to turn the sensor, the whole unit on, we're going to press that, and that of course gives us our lights. We've got a dimmer switch here. This is for our awning on the external side, and we've got a number of different things that are going to help us. We've also got our water here, so if we press that button, I'm not going to press it now because there is no water in the vehicle. That will help us to turn the pump on. When we are turning the pump on to make sure that we've got hot water, the way that we do that is simply by turning the hot tap on the sink, which can be found just behind me here. Make sure we turn it to hot and then run it, and until it stops spurting and we have a nice clear flow. At that stage we know that water is getting through to the pump, and it's making sure that all the taps have been closed as we sit outside, and also that we have turned that yellow switch on that can be found in the heater in the garage space. Once we've done that, let's also do the same in the bathroom with the sink and with the shower. Even if you're not going to use them, it does stop water getting or air getting stuck within the system. So as we look once again, you'll notice that the sensor has now turned off. Just press it again and it's going to come back to you. You've got a number of things that you can access. Here, this will give us our level of water, and we can see here there is no water in the vehicle. We press the home to take us back again. This is going to give us our levels of power that we can, and you can see that we've got solar, mains, voltage, battery, and the active current leisure battery. So that gives us a number of elements that we've got there. And then finally, if we click here in the settings, then we can actually set a number of different things working together. Now, one of the most important elements that we could do here that's new to this one is the tank heaters. This particular model does have heated tanks, which makes it a good rating in cold conditions. If we click on that, then that's going to give us the ability to heat the tanks. If we unclick it, the tanks themselves will not heat. Next to this then is our Truma heating system. These are fairly standard in the way that they work. This is both our accessible switch, our back switch, and the press the button for an enter. So as we press the button, we're going to get access to this screen. So this first van-esque element gives us the temperature. So if I press the button now, it's off currently, but I can set it to the temperature that I want it to be, and then it's going to try and find that space for me. I'm going to press the back. Next to that then is our temperature. This is our water temperature again. That's going to give us the opportunity. So the eco will heat it at a normal base. The hot will give it hot quite quickly, and then the boost will give it a real show. So if you're looking for a quick shower, click it to the boost, and we'll press the back button. The next thing then is our different supplies. So we do have access on here that we can use gas. We can use mix 1 or 2. What that means is it's going to use a mix of gas and electric. It will always favor the electric first of all, and then it will use the gas if needed. The 1 and the 2 help us with sites where the voltage may be shorter. So in some European sites, it may only be a 1.2. As we move across, our other option are to do electric 1 and electric 2, which is obviously dependent on yourself what you wish to do. And finally, when we get to the fan state, the fan, as we click on that, is either off or it's on, and that will give us everything that we need, but we wouldn't need to press that normally in most circumstances. So as we move into the cab, we might want to know access to certain things. There is a media unit that can be found. It's here above the driver's head. To access it, we simply turn this switch. or it's a little, and keep control of it and it will drop down for you, and the access for a TV remote and other elements. Because it's within a cover, you can actually access down the side the various plugs and so on if you do want to connect anything to it. Then as we move through into the kitchen space, we have microwave and we have oven. There's a 4-hob oven, and as we look down in the 4, 3 of those are gas and 1 of them is electric. We also have our Thetford fridge. I was trying to kind of get you a view there, but it wasn't coming on so easily. And in this, as we turn it on, you'll see that we do have access to the 3 fuels, and we can choose with regards to this whether we're going to have either the gas, the electric mains, or the battery, and you can choose in terms of which you wish it to be used from. As we move into the bed space here at the back, as you can see, it is a high bed up, but quite luckily we do have this accessible ladder which is stored in here. We simply pull it out, and as we pull it out, then we're going to have access to our bed. So we pull it all the way. Not the easiest task with this hand, and it will sit quite comfortably and give you an access point inside. As mentioned, under the bed we also have a cupboard access. This cupboard access will get you access to the garage. So as we open that and we pull open, we can actually see inside there that we have access to the pots that we're going to need to on the pump. So we don't even have to go outside to make sure that the water pump is working. Just inside the toilet space as well, so that we're aware when using the toilet that it is important that the blade is in the correct position. So as we open up, we should see that the toilet is sealed, and as we put the blade into the correct position, then it opens up, and now we can use the lavatory. The flush button is there at the back, and then this is our shower section here as well. So the only other thing to now show you is the final bed set. So we do have this front living room that can also convert for you into a bed setup. So I am going to just prepare that and get it ready. And just to keep in mind as well, from an electrical point of view, that we just need to know the access to the leisure battery and also the access to our fuse box, but I will come back to you. So as we look here, having removed the cushions, it gives us an idea of the bed setup that we can use. We also notice that there's a table here. Now under each one of these units we can actually also lift the seats, and as we lift the seats it will give us access to things that are under them. So just so you know, in terms of the table, if you do want to remove it, it's quite simple, and potentially if you're going to use the bed system you might need to, that we do have a simple connecting screw here that we just undo, and as we do we can remove the table so that the bed is easier to use. So with a simple pull up, as you can see, I've now moved the table and lifted the seats just to show you the access underneath. Here can be used for storage. It will give you a reasonable amount if so needed. That metal cabinet will be your gas canisters, and then on the other side this is where your access point is to your leisure battery, so that you're aware. And just above it, in the units that just rised here, you'll see as I lift this, here is your fuse system. Now on the fuse system you've got an on and off, but you've also got a heating and hot water, so you can turn that on or you can turn that off, as well as the charger, which will help you with regards to the solar panels and a reverse of the polarity if needed. If you do have many issues, you might find that this is where your fuse boxes are, and of course your battery unit down here with access to a number of different things for you to be able to view. Now I'm going to make the bed together so that you can see how that functions. So if I pull this down, you'll notice that there is a kind of a section here with the bed, that there's either an overkill in terms of the springs, or that's trying to show you that there's a little bit more. And we simply pull it forward like this, and as we do, you'll notice that the leg releases, and as we release the leg down, then we have a security so that we can put our beds back on. I'm going to set the bed up just so you can see what it looks like. And now as you can see, having pulled across the beds and put the cushions down, this gives us quite ample space for living within. So that takes us through the majority of the elements that we're going to need. The last bit to kind of look at in particular are the internal windows. They all have the same setup. So if you are looking for the fly screen, you simply pull it down and it will clip into position. To unclip, you press this button and then you can pull it back up again. You also have your vanity blinds, again the same. You pull them up and they will clip into position so that you can obviously be both warm and protected from the view of others. So that covers everything that we've got here within the unit. Hopefully you'll be able to enjoy the experience of living with it. We'll put the van back together and we hope that you've enjoyed this instructional video. Thank you very much.